Well, hello all. I'm a 71-year-old retired person, so I've got time on my hands which working people may not have, and so I tend to get involved with community projects like cutting fire breaks. This morning I watered the community garden, and a project that you may find a little bit interesting is just opposite the community garden, a tree had fallen on a fence. Now, it's not my fence, it's not my tree. The fence belongs to the Navy, the South African Navy, and it wasn't particularly a bothersome thing, but on closer inspections, I noticed that this here was the tree, and the branch had fallen like that and bent the fence, but it had broken off and it was hanging from another living branch. So that all that I saw that we needed to do was push this branch out of the tree, and it would fall down, and then it wouldn't be have the weight resting on the rest of the fence. And also it was a death trap. I mean, this branch weighed more than many people, and it was just waiting to come down. As unfortunately I wasn't filming it when it did fall down because I was busy pushing on I was busy pulling and pushing on dry branches when this thing rolled out of the tree and fell at least 4 or 5 meters. This many hundreds of pounds of perhaps a 200-kilogram branch fell onto the ground, and this could have killed anyone because it is right next to a hole in the fence where people walk. So I think it was a good morning's work to actually bring this whole branch down from the tree where it was sitting, and then it could then prop up the fence, which had been already taking some strain, but at least it's not being pushed like this. The branch was now sitting on the ground, just lightly resting on the fence. And so here's a video of how unfortunately we missed the dramatic part where the branch fell because I didn't have the camera filming at the time. But the attempts to dislodge it are shown in this video. So this is how we spend our time doing things that are community work, and it's amazing. Every day there's something that has to be done. I mean, there's fire breaks to be cut, there's gardens to be watered, there's, in this case, a tree branch which had fallen onto a fence, a Navy or actually government property fence, but no one else is going to do anything about it, and it was a bit of a death trap. So this is what we did with it today. So here is our dilemma. We have this branch that fell off this pine tree, and it's holding up this fence, and I think it may have pulled down that wire as well. So if you look carefully, you'll see that this dead branch is just being held up by this living tree, and there's the extension of the living tree's branch. So if we pushed that branch off, this is going to fall off the dead branch and bounce around. It's super heavy, and it may pull the fence over. That's a definite possibility. So I'm really in favor of not touching it. If one tries to cut these branches off from the fence, then it's going to fall down this way, and then that's going to fall off. It's also going to be super dangerous as it falls downwards. So really, this is not a job I mean, I want to get involved in, actually. So this is what I've done so far. I've cut these two poles to hold up the fence so that no matter what we do, we don't pull the fence down. I also cut that long pole there with a V on the end to push or lever. You see how that dead branch is just hanging there, and when it falls, I fear it's going to try and take the fence down. That's why I have used those props. So either by just pushing that branch off, it should all come collapsing down, so I could push there, or I could wedge a branch in that V here and then pull it from this side. It's going to fall, so I've got to be careful that I'm completely out of the way when we do that. So those are the options. So we're all ready to just push that branch off. And then we won't have to cut any of those, and then this will fall down and help support the fence. That's all in theory. So I'm going to try and give this branch a push and see if it'll fall off. Well, I tried pushing it off and I tried wedging it off, but the wedge was not strong enough. It was too bendy. Right, so here's the expert, the management. I'm just the labor.
So Stephen's come up with this amazing temporary sturdy measure by dropping the main part where it used to connect to the tree to the ground. It was hooking on the tree, and now it's just leaning against the fence and it's not moving to the touch. Yeah, it's just angled differently and more sturdy and not so pushy. So we can see if it needs more processing. Maybe Conway can have a look when he's here later.
Okie doke. But
Nicely done, Stephen.
yeah. So as I made a previous video where this bit was hanging in the tree there, and I couldn't push it out or wedge it out. I tried using this green stick, but then there was a dry branch here on the fence, and as I pulled on that stick, it rolled this whole tree so that it fell out and beautifully onto the ground here. And look how that's firmly now propping up this fence. I had propped the fence in two places, that and that, just to make sure we didn't damage the fence. So this fence hasn't been damaged at all. It hasn't bent any more than it was. You'll see from the before video. And now the tree itself is serving as a prop. So I think we're done here. What do you think? Quality control?
Well, yeah, run it past the rest.
What, Conway and the rest? Okay.
Get the input. Yay, nicely done. Oh.
Great.